Hello, my beautiful people. This is Auntie May, and welcome to Empathy is Magic Motivation. Come in for a moment. Take a breath with me. Now, if you found your way here tonight, I have a feeling life has been a little heavier than usual. Maybe you've been carrying burdens you haven't spoken about out loud. Maybe you're grieving something or someone. Maybe you're exhausted from being the strong one. Or maybe you're discovering one of life's hardest truths, that when the storms come, the crowd gets smaller. It's a painful thing to realize that the people who celebrated with you don't always sit beside you when you're hurting. That some people know how to attend the party, but don't know how to stay through the pain. And if we're being honest, that realization can break your heart. I've learned over the years that hardship has a way of introducing us to people, but it also introduces us to ourselves. It teaches us who we can lean on, who truly sees us, and who only knew how to love us when life was easy. And maybe you're listening to this today feeling disappointed, lonely, forgotten, wondering why the people you would have shown up for didn't show up for you. If that's you, I want you to know something before we go any further. Your worth is not determined by who stayed. Your value does not decrease because someone lacked the capacity to walk through your darkness with you. Sometimes the darkest seasons reveal the brightest truths. Sometimes they teach us that even when friends are few, you are stronger than you know, wiser than you realize, and never as alone as you think. So tonight, if your heart is tired, if your spirit is weary, stay with me for a little while, because this message is for anyone who has ever discovered that when days are dark, friends are few. There are seasons of life where everything goes quiet. The messages slow down, the invitations stop. The support you thought you had suddenly disappears, and that silence can feel louder than any rejection. It's the kind of silence that sits with you in the middle of the night, when your phone doesn't light up, when the world keeps moving, and you feel like you've been left behind, and you start to wonder, was it me? Did I do something wrong? Why does it feel like everyone disappeared at once? Loneliness doesn't always come from being alone. Sometimes it comes from being unseen, from realizing that the people you poured into aren't there when you need them most. And that realization can break something open inside you. There's a quiet heartbreak in giving your time, your love, your energy, and then standing there empty-handed when you finally need someone to give back. I remember a woman named Carla. She was the one everyone called when they needed advice. The one who showed up for birthdays, emergencies, late-night conversations. But when she lost her job, when everything in her life began to fall apart, her phone went silent. She told me, I didn't just lose stability, I lost people I thought were family. That kind of pain doesn't just hurt. It awakens you. Many people are walking through life right now feeling isolated, even surrounded by others, smiling in public, struggling in private because asking for help feels risky. And admitting loneliness feels like failure. But it's not. It's human. Even the strongest among us have cried in silence. Even the most confident have questioned their worth behind closed doors. The Bible reminds us in Psalm 34:18, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." That means even in your loneliness, you are not abandoned. Some of the strongest people you know learned how to survive without a safety net, not because they wanted to, but because they had no choice. And in that solitude, something painful but powerful happens. You meet yourself. And that meeting, that deep, raw, honest encounter with who you are, it changes everything. Because when the noise fades, you finally hear your own voice. There's a kind of loneliness that doesn't come from being abandoned. It comes from being misunderstood. From realizing that the people around you can't meet you where you are anymore. Not because they're bad people, but because you've outgrown the version of yourself they knew. Growth can be isolating, healing can be lonely, and no one really prepares you for that. There's a man named David. He started choosing peace over chaos, stopped entertaining drama, started setting boundaries, and suddenly, he wasn't invited anymore. He wasn't included anymore. Not because he became worse, but because he became different. And not everyone grows with you. Oprah Winfrey once said, "Everyone wants to ride with you in the limo, but what you want is someone who will take the bus with you when the limo breaks down." Growth reveals who those people are. In these quiet seasons, distractions fall away. There's no one to lean on the way you used to. No crowd to hide in. No applause to drown out the doubts. And at first, that feels unbearable. But slowly, something shifts. You begin to listen to yourself. Your intuition gets louder. Your values get clearer. Your tolerance for noise, drama, and shallow connections fades. You start asking deeper questions. What do I actually want? What do I deserve? What am I no longer willing to accept? This is where faith often deepens. Not the loud kind, but the steady, grounded kind. The kind that says, "I don't see the way forward, but I trust there is one." Faith becomes less about miracles and more about endurance, less about escape and more about transformation. It was a quiet story about a woman named Teresa. She prayed every day for her situation to change. Months passed, nothing changed. But one day, she realized she had changed. She had become stronger, clearer, unshakable. That was the answer. Many people lose their faith not because they stop believing, but because they expected it to look different. They expected rescue, not refinement, relief, not resilience. But some answers come as strength, not shortcuts. As the scripture says in Isaiah 40:31, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles." Not instantly, but eventually. When friends are few, you learn self-trust. When days are dark, you learn endurance. And endurance shapes character in ways comfort never could. Because comfort doesn't stretch you. Comfort doesn't reveal you. But hardship introduces you to a version of yourself you didn't know existed. One day, you'll realize this season didn't isolate you to punish you. It isolated you to prepare you. show you who you are without validation, to teach you how to stand alone, not forever, but for now. There's a quiet strength in standing alone, not because you have to, but because you can. To wake up, keep going, keep believing, even when no one is watching, to choose yourself, even when others didn't, to love yourself, even when others couldn't, to keep your heart open, even after it's been hurt. That is power. That is transformation. And when connection returns, and it will be deeper, healthier, and more aligned, because you won't just accept anyone. You'll recognize alignment. You'll recognize peace. You'll recognize truth. You will choose people who see you, not just when you're shining, but when you're struggling, because you learn the difference between company and community, and that wisdom will guide you forward. And maybe, just maybe, you'll look back on this lonely season, not with pain, but with gratitude, because it built you, it strengthened you, it revealed you, and it reminded you of something powerful. You were never truly alone.